Well, this is just such a lovely old graveyard. It's nice and peaceful for a start. I'm in Moffat, and the main street in Moffat feels a wee bit hectic at times, with cars and people. But a much nicer place if there were no cars and no people. I think the thing that strikes me about this graveyard is that practically all of the stones are in good nick. They go back to the 18th century, I'm sure older in some cases. Most of them are probably Victorian or 19th century. But the text and the wording on the stones is, in almost all cases, still very sharp and readable. And if you think about a lot of graveyards where the sort of stone that's used is maybe a kind of poor quality sandstone, where over the decades the surface is kind of sloughed off, if that's the word, and the wording is no longer readable, which is a great shame really when you think about it. I can read all the stones here. I think it is down to the quality of the sandstone. There's a kind of red look about the stone. I don't know what type of stone it is. I'm guessing possibly Lockerbie's red sandstone, because I've seen it before. It's a good solid stone that has long-lasting properties. There's a part of me thinking maybe we should have built a lot of Glasgow's buildings out of that stuff, and maybe they would have stood the test of time. I'm going for a walk tomorrow. It's part of the Annandale Way, which is a long-distance walking trail that runs from the Moffat Hills towards the Solway Firth and the sea, following the course of the River Annan. I think it's about 54 miles, something like that. Tomorrow's walk is just a sort of loop. I'll walk from Moffat up into the Moffat Hills and just back again. It's about 13 miles or something like that. And we'll take in, I think it's called the Devil's Beef Tub, which has a certain ominous ring to it. But you know, I've had my eyes on this walk for quite a while. It's just looking at maps. I'm always on the lookout for walks that look interesting. I thought this one looks very interesting. The hills aren't that high. I think we've got to about 466 metres. It just looks an interesting shaped arrangement of hills, which I think and I hope will be kind of stunning looking. You know, I've never actually done it before. I reckoned I probably couldn't do the walk in one day with travelling from Glasgow and then back again, so I'm staying overnight in Moffat. I've just noticed what looks like it looks like a statue of someone on a roof. I'll see you in the morning.
This one, we've been there 20 years, we built this one in the first year at the same time. One of two walls there. Quality view. And the fact that this one really tastes very good. It's really good. Between this one and then the next dish, we'll near the bottom menu. We're also making pie. And this dish, the quality. It's a traditional Southern African dish. It's a curry beef mince with an egg type of this baked. They serve it nice and good.
I forgot to say, I'm in the Buccleuch Arms in the main street here in Moffat. A rather lovely looking hotel, I have to say. It's just probably an old coaching inn, but I'm not sure. It's full of old dark wood and it's just got a lovely feel to it. Highly recommended. Buccleuch Arms. Well, good morning. We've got a very warm day ahead. Temperature's going up to about 20. I suppose in the grand scheme of things it's not that hot, but when you're walking up in the hills it's going to be kind of hot, you know, and I want to get some miles under my belt before it gets too warm. Initially I'm just going to follow, I've got to kind of bypass a little bit of the Annandale Way that runs beside the river, just in Moffat here. And I'm just going to continue out on a narrow road, bypassing another little bit of the track that runs along the riverside. I'm just going to walk for about 4 miles till I get to the foot of the hills, and I'll pick you up there. That way I can get some distance, as I say, under my belt before it perhaps heats up too much. I have to say the Buccleuch Arms Hotel that you can see there, a very good hotel, you know. I mean, it's for everybody, but there is a strong biker element. And you know, all these old motorbike helmets and old motorcycle boots with plants growing out of them in the garden, I found it fascinating, you know. And there's a map room, and there's just a lot of old photographs of Moffat, and it really is a very good hotel. As I say, for everybody, not just bikers, there's people who just enjoy the great outdoors, cyclists, walkers, perhaps doing the Southern Upland Way, or like me, a part of the Annandale Way. And really for anybody that just enjoys being in this part of Scotland, where the countryside around about and in Moffat is stunningly beautiful. So I highly recommend the hotel there. Without further ado, let's be on our way. Well, I think we can now get a good idea of what this walk's about. You can see the hills behind me. There is a footpath sign just a short distance ahead. That's not the way we're going. It's pointing towards Hartfell. But as I say, that's not the Annandale Way. Ericstane's not that far ahead, and from there we'll head up a footpath up onto Spout Craig. I think that's the highest point in today's walk. It's actually 565 metres high, a wee bit higher than I think I may have said at yesterday's intro. From there to Chalk Rig Edge, the Great Hill, Annandale Hill, around the Devil's Beef Tub, and then from there we kind of drop down gradually. As you may know, in some videos in the past, I have talked about the stone gatherer who comes in the dead of night to gather up lots of loose little stones and boulders and put them in piles. But in fact, there is also a wood gatherer who also appears in the dead of night to gather up wood. This bell here, if rung, will attract the wood gatherer. Now, I mean, you can see the piles of wood there ready for him to collect. People in this area placed them there for the wood gatherer. But this is normally rung at night. If I ring this now during the day, he's not going to be a happy bunny. And even if I mean, even in the night, you wouldn't want to meet either the wood gatherer or the stone gatherer. So I think he's probably sleeping in there, you know. Let's be on our way. Just having a wee rest. It's too hot. All sorts of thoughts of turning back. I'm actually erect. It's just too hot and I'm tired. Physically tired. Jesus, right. But I can see what's going on now. Often in these walks, there will be a few moments where it all kind of comes together, and you can see the way ahead, and you see how the land's panning out, and you also see a seat, and you think, I'll have a wee rest. We're following up the right hand side of a kind of valley. It's probably a stream at the bottom of it. And this will take me up to a high point. But I keep using the word Buccleuch, and I'm never entirely sure if I'm using it correctly, but I think it's a Buccleuch. I'll just call everything a Buccleuch, and the chances are I'll get it right at least once. I mean, in many ways, once I hit that low point, and it is only about a mile away, but it is a mile uphill, but it's not that steep, it's okay, you know. I'll feel much better after I've rested for a wee while. And from there, it's only about maybe a mile and a half on the tops of the hills before we start dropping down again, after we've kind of skirted the Devil's Beef Tub. So, you know, once I get to that low point, although it's kind of tough going and it feels hard at the moment, I feel as if we're getting there. Once we're up top, I think I'll feel a lot happier, because it won't be that long till we start coming down again. Yeah, there's something very attractive about the phrase coming down. Ground level's got a lot going for it. Well, I've reached the low high point. The high low point, I don't know what it is. Could be a Buccleuch. And thankfully that arrow was pointing the way I thought it would if it had pointed a different way. And I thought, oh God, I've blown it. So we start to go up a wee bit here. This is, I had to buy this map for this area. I didn't have one, but unfortunately the shops I went to didn't have the regular Land Ranger copy of this map. So I had to get a waterproof version, which was a wee bit more expensive. And what I've discovered is it doesn't take a highlighter pen. I usually like to take a highlight pen and mark out the route for a particular day. It just makes it a little bit easier to see at a glance where you're going. Okay, this route is kind of marked with kind of little red diamonds because it is the Annandale Way part of. But nevertheless, I'm slightly irritated that, you know, it's always good to have something to be irritated about. At some point we'll stop and not have a pie, but not yet. We'll see. Up there somewhere. Well, I sort of made it, you know. I think this is the high point on today's walk. Annanhead Hill, with its trig-point, 478 metres high. I didn't do a lot of filming coming along there. I've obviously bypassed the kind of deep kind of bowl that is the Devil's Beef Tub. But in most of the time the kind of path was sort of off the edge of any hill, and you were really just getting a view of the kind of rolling hills here. I didn't feel that there was a great deal to film. It was a lovely path, you know, very different to the walk that I did on the Isle of Arran, where there's a lot of rocks and stuff, and the path at times is a little bit fiddly. Beautiful nonetheless, but this is very different. The path, while potentially a little bit boggy here and there, it wasn't bad. It was kind of grassy all the way, and there was nothing really very difficult about it at all. It was just a nice stroll. But earlier on, when it was hot, it was just tough going. But it's nice, it's cooler up here, you know. And from here we really just drop down, thankfully, onto the road, short section of road, then we'll bypass a kind of curvy bit of road, and it's sort of downhill for a few miles towards that same narrow country road that I came up in the first place. So essentially we made it, you know. I did have doubts earlier on. Big doubts, but I'm still not hungry. I'm not even going to try and eat anything. I'm just going to drink water. I've lost gallons of sweat. I need to drink water. So I'll probably pick you up somewhere on the way down. I'm not sure where. Essentially that's kind of us done, but we'll see. There might be a nice scenic bit. Might get a good view of the Devil's. I keep wanting to call it Devil's Bathtub for some bizarre reason. Is that what it's called? Is that where the devil had a bath? No, it's a beef tub. The Devil's Beef Tub. I wonder why it's called that. Anyway, right, I'll see you shortly. Well, I've hit the road here, and thankfully we've now got a good view of the Devil's Beef Tub behind me and some of the other hills that we were just in among there. And I think I'll probably end the video here. I think as you get older you're never sure how many more summers you'll see. I'm certainly more conscious of that now. So make the most of it, guys, and get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. I'm Eddie Burns. Take care, and I'll see you again.